Celestine stood at the edge of the garden party, a champagne flute trembling in her hand. The paper invitation crumpled in her coat pocket felt heavier than stone. Her ex-husband was getting married. Again, and somehow, impossibly, she had been invited. The garden stretched before her like a painted dream. White roses climbed trellises. String lights hung between oak trees like captured stars. Guests in pastel dresses and summer suits laughed and clinked glasses. Everything glowed with the golden light of late afternoon. But Celestine felt cold. She shouldn't have come. Every instinct screamed at her to turn around, to walk back through the iron gates and never look back. But the invitation had included a handwritten note. Not from Rowan, from someone else. "You need to be here. For Emma. Please." Emma, her daughter, the girl she hadn't seen in 3 years. Celestine's throat tightened. Her fingers clutched the champagne glass until her knuckles turned white. She scanned the crowd, searching for a familiar face, a glimpse of dark curls and bright eyes. Her daughter would be 12 now, almost a teenager. Would she even recognize her? A waiter passed by with a tray of appetizers. Celestine shook her head. Her stomach twisted too tight to eat. She took a sip of champagne instead, letting the bubbles burn down her throat. Across the garden, near a fountain shaped like 2 swans, she finally saw him. Rowan. Her breath caught. He looked the same, tall and broad-shouldered, with dark hair that fell just over his forehead. He wore a grey suit that fit him perfectly. His smile was easy, charming. He laughed at something a woman beside him said. The woman wore a white dress, not a wedding gown, not yet, but clearly the bride-to-be. She was beautiful. Younger than Celestine, maybe 28 or 29. Blonde hair swept up in an elegant twist, a smile that showed perfect teeth. She touched Rowan's arm with familiarity, with ownership. Celestine looked away. Her chest ached. She had no right to feel jealous. She had left. 3 years ago she had walked out of their home, out of their marriage, out of their lives. She had her reasons. Good reasons. But reasons didn't make the pain any less sharp. "Mama?" The voice was small, uncertain. Celestine's heart stopped. She turned slowly. Emma stood 3 feet away. She wore a pale blue dress with white flowers embroidered on the hem. Her dark hair, so much like Celestine's own, hung in loose waves past her shoulders. But her eyes were Rowan's. Deep brown, almost amber in the sunlight. Those eyes stared at Celestine with a mixture of shock and hurt. "Emma," Celestine whispered, her voice cracked. "Emma, sweetheart. Why are you here?" Emma's hands balled into fists at her sides. Her chin trembled. You left us. Why would you come back now?" Celestine took a step forward. Emma took a step back. I got an invitation," Celestine said softly. "Someone wanted me here." "Who?" Emma's voice rose. Heads turned in their direction. "Who would want you here? Papa doesn't want you here. I don't want you here." The words hit like stones. Celestine flinched, but she couldn't look away from her daughter's face. The pain there, raw and real, made her want to fall to her knees. "Emma, please," she began. "I know you're angry. I know I hurt you." "You don't know anything." Tears welled in Emma's eyes. "You left without saying goodbye. You didn't call. You didn't write. You just disappeared." "I had to," Celestine said, and her own voice broke. "Emma, I had to leave. It wasn't safe." "Safe?" Emma laughed, but it sounded like a sob. "What does that even mean?" "Papa said you didn't love us anymore, that you chose something else. Was he lying?" Celestine opened her mouth, closed it. How could she explain? How could she make a 12-year-old understand? Before she could find words, a hand touched Emma's shoulder. Rowan. He stood behind Emma, his expression unreadable. His jaw was tight. His eyes met Celestine's with a coldness that made her shiver. "Emma, go inside," he said quietly. "Find Aunt Margaret. Stay with her." "But Papa—" "Now." Emma looked between them. Then she turned and ran toward the house, her blue dress fluttering behind her. Celestine and Rowan stood alone in the middle of the garden. The party continued around them, but it felt like they existed in a bubble of silence. "You shouldn't have come," Rowan said finally. His voice was calm, controlled, but Celestine heard the anger underneath. "I received an invitation," she replied. "A note. Someone asked me to come. For Emma. I didn't send it." "I know." Rowan's eyes narrowed. "Then who?" Celestine pulled the crumpled invitation from her pocket. She held it out. Rowan took it, his fingers brushing hers for just a moment. The touch sent electricity up her arm. He read the handwritten note. His frown deepened. "I don't recognize this handwriting," he said slowly. "Neither do I." They looked at each other. Something unspoken passed between them. A question. A mystery. "Why would someone want you here?" Rowan asked. "Why now?" Celestine shook her head. "I don't know. But Emma thinks I abandoned her. She thinks I stopped loving her." "Rowan, what did you tell her?" His expression hardened. "I told her the truth. That you left, but not why. You never told me why." Celestine looked away. Her throat burned. "I had my reasons." "Reasons you couldn't share with your husband? With your daughter? Reasons that kept you both safe." Rowan stared at her. For a moment something flickered in his eyes. Confusion, maybe even concern. But then it was gone, replaced by that cold distance again. "You're not welcome here, Celestine," he said quietly. "You made your choice 3 years ago. Now I'm making mine. I'm marrying Claire. I'm building a new life. Emma is finally starting to heal. I won't let you disrupt that." "I don't want to disrupt anything," Celestine said, and she meant it. "But someone brought me here. Someone thinks I need to be here. Don't you want to know why?" Rowan hesitated. She could see the war on his face. Curiosity versus anger. Logic versus emotion. Before he could answer, a scream split the air. Both of them spun toward the house. Claire, the bride-to-be, stood on the back terrace. Her face was pale. Her hands covered her mouth. Beside her, a woman in a burgundy dress lay crumpled on the ground. Guests rushed toward them. Rowan took off running. Celestine followed, her heels sinking into the grass. By the time they reached the terrace, a crowd had formed. Rowan knelt beside the fallen woman. He pressed 2 fingers to her neck, checking for a pulse. "She's breathing," he said. "Someone call an ambulance." Celestine pushed through the crowd. She recognized the woman now. Margaret, Rowan's sister, Emma's aunt. Margaret's eyes fluttered open. She groaned softly. "What happened?" Rowan asked, his voice urgent. "Margaret, talk to me." I don't know." Margaret's voice was weak. "I was looking for Emma. I went upstairs to check her room, and then someone pushed me from behind. I fell down the stairs." "Pushed?" Claire gasped. "Who would push you?" Margaret's gaze swept the crowd. Then it landed on Celestine. Her eyes widened. "You," she whispered. "You're here. I thought I was seeing things." "I received an invitation," Celestine said quickly. "I didn't—" "Stay away from her," Rowan snapped. He stepped between Celestine and his sister. "Everyone step back. Give her air." But Margaret reached out, her fingers catching Celestine's wrist. Her grip was surprisingly strong. "You need to find Emma," Margaret whispered. "Before they do." "Before who?" Celestine began. But Margaret's eyes rolled back. She fainted again. The ambulance arrived 10 minutes later. Paramedics loaded Margaret onto a stretcher and carried her away. Rowan went with her, his face grim. Claire followed, clutching his arm. The party dissolved. Guests whispered and left in small groups. The golden afternoon turned grey as clouds rolled in. Celestine stood alone on the terrace. Her mind raced. Margaret's words echoed in her ears. You need to find Emma before they do. Who was they? And where was Emma? Celestine turned toward the house. The back door stood open. Inside, the hallway was dim and quiet. She stepped through, her heels clicking on marble tile. Emma? She called softly. Emma? Are you here? No answer. She walked deeper into the house. It looked different than she remembered. New furniture, new paint. Rowan had erased every trace of her. Celestine climbed the stairs, her hand trailing along the banister. At the top, she paused. 3 doors. One led to the master bedroom, one to a guest room. The third. She pushed open the third door. Emma's room. It had to be. The walls were painted lavender. Bookshelves lined one wall, crammed with novels and trinkets. A desk sat by the window, covered in schoolwork and drawings. And on the bed, curled into a ball with her face buried in a pillow, was Emma. Celestine's heart broke. She crossed the room slowly, carefully. She sat on the edge of the bed, not touching, just close. Emma, she said gently. Sweetheart, I know you're angry. I know you don't want to talk to me, but something's happening, something dangerous. I need to know you're safe. Emma didn't move, but Celestine saw her shoulders shake. She was crying. I'm sorry, Celestine whispered. I'm so sorry. I never wanted to leave you. Every single day I thought about you. I missed you so much it felt like I couldn't breathe. But I had to protect you. From what? Emma's voice was muffled by the pillow. From people who wanted to hurt me, and anyone close to me. Emma finally lifted her head. Her face was red and blotchy from crying. What people? Papa never said anything about danger. Because he didn't know. I couldn't tell him. If I did, they would have come after him too. Emma sat up slowly. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I don't understand. I know, and I wish I could explain everything right now, but I can't. Not yet. Celestine reached out hesitantly and brushed a strand of hair from Emma's face. The girl didn't pull away. Right now, I just need to know you're safe. Aunt Margaret said something strange before she fainted. She told me to find you. Before they do. Do you know what she meant? Emma's eyes widened. Aunt Margaret was pushed. Yes, down the stairs. That's not an accident. No, it's not. Emma looked down at her hands. She twisted her fingers together. Mama, strange things have been happening. Celestine leaned forward. What kind of strange things? Someone's been watching the house. I see a car sometimes, parked across the street. Always the same one. Black, with tinted windows. And last week, someone broke into Papa's study. Nothing was stolen, but papers were moved around. Papa thought he just forgot where he put them, but I saw. Someone had been going through his files. A chill ran down Celestine's spine. Did you tell your father? I tried. He didn't believe me. He said I was imagining things because I was stressed about the wedding. Celestine took Emma's hands in hers. They were so small, so warm. Emma, listen to me. I need you to stay close to your father. Don't go anywhere alone. If you see anything strange, anything at all, you tell him immediately. Even if he doesn't believe you, you tell him. Promise me. Emma hesitated. Then she nodded. Okay, I promise. Good girl. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Emma spoke again, her voice very small. Mama, do you really still love me? Celestine's vision blurred. Tears spilled down her cheeks. She pulled Emma into her arms, holding her tight. "More than anything in the world," she whispered fiercely. "More than my own life. Never, ever doubt that." Emma clung to her. Her thin shoulders shook with sobs. "I missed you so much." "I missed you too, baby. I missed you too." They held each other while the sky outside darkened and rain began to fall. But something felt wrong. Celestine couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The hospital waiting room smelled like antiseptic and bad coffee. Celestine sat in a plastic chair, her coat damp from the rain. Across from her, Claire paced back and forth. Her white dress was wrinkled now. Her perfect hair had come loose. Rowan stood by the window, staring out at the dark parking lot. His hands were shoved in his pockets. His jaw was clenched so tight, Celestine could see the muscle jumping. Margaret was still unconscious. The doctors said she had a concussion. They were running tests to make sure there was no internal bleeding. "This is insane," Claire said suddenly. She stopped pacing and turned to Rowan. "Someone pushed your sister down the stairs at our engagement party. Who would do that?" "I don't know," Rowan said. His voice was flat, tired. "And then she shows up," Claire pointed at Celestine. "After 3 years. Don't you think that's suspicious?" Celestine looked up. "I didn't push Margaret." "How do we know that? You disappeared without a trace. Now you come back and suddenly people are getting hurt." "That's enough, Claire," Rowan said quietly. "No, it's not enough." Claire crossed her arms. "I deserve answers. We're getting married in 2 weeks. I have a right to know what's going on." Rowan finally turned from the window. He looked at Claire with something like exhaustion. "I don't have answers. I don't know why Celestine is here. I don't know who pushed Margaret. But I know Celestine wouldn't hurt my sister." "How do you know that?" Claire demanded. "Because I know her." The words hung in the air. Claire's face flushed red. Celestine's chest tightened. "You knew her," Claire corrected. "Past tense. She's not the woman you married anymore. People change." "Some things don't change," Rowan said softly. He looked at Celestine. Their eyes met. For a moment, the years between them dissolved, but then a nurse appeared in the doorway. "Mr. Thorne, your sister is awake. She's asking for you." Rowan moved immediately. Claire followed. Celestine started to stand, but the nurse held up a hand. "Family only." Celestine sank back into her chair. She watched them disappear down the hallway. Alone in the waiting room, she felt the weight of everything pressing down on her. She shouldn't have come. But the invitation had been so specific, so urgent. "You need to be here. For Emma, please." Someone wanted her at that party. Someone knew she would come if Emma was mentioned. But who? And why? Celestine pulled out her phone. She scrolled through her contacts until she found a name she hadn't called in years. Detective Iris Hale. The phone rang 3 times before a familiar voice answered. "Celestine? Is that you?" "Iris, I need your help." There was a pause, then, "I thought you were out. I thought you got away clean." "I did, but something's happened. I think they found me." "Who's they?" "I don't know. That's why I'm calling you." Another pause. Celestine could hear papers rustling in the background. "Where are you?" "St. Mary's Hospital. Someone was hurt. My ex-husband's sister. She was pushed down the stairs." "And you think it's connected to your past?" "I don't know. But I received a strange invitation. Someone brought me here on purpose. And Margaret said something before she passed out. She told me to find Emma. Before they do." Iris swore softly. "Okay, stay there. I'm coming." "Iris, don't argue. If someone's targeting you, you need protection. I'll be there in 20 minutes. The line went dead. Celestine leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes. Her mind drifted back 3 years, to the night she left. She remembered standing in the bedroom she shared with Rowan. She remembered packing a single bag with shaking hands. She remembered looking at Emma's sleeping face one last time, memorizing every detail. And she remembered the letter she found on her pillow. Leave tonight. Don't tell anyone. If you stay, they will kill everyone you love. No signature, no explanation, just a photo tucked inside the envelope. A photo of Emma at school, circled in red ink. Celestine had left within the hour. She spent 3 years running, changing cities, changing names, working cash jobs, never staying anywhere too long, always looking over her shoulder. And she never found out who sent the letter. But someone had known her secret. Someone had known about the files she copied, the evidence she planned to turn over to the police. Someone had silenced her before she could talk. Now, 3 years later, someone wanted her back. Why? Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Celestine opened her eyes. Rowan walked toward her alone. His face was pale, his eyes were shadowed. He sat down in the chair beside her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "How is she?" Celestine asked finally. "Stable. The doctors think she'll make a full recovery." Rowan rubbed his face with both hands. "She doesn't remember much. Just someone behind her, a hand on her back, then falling." "Did she see who it was?" "No, it happened too fast." Celestine nodded slowly. "Rowan, we need to talk." "About what?" "About why I left." He looked at her sharply. "Now? You want to do this now?" "Yes, because I think someone's in danger, and I think it's connected to me." Rowan stared at her for a long moment. Then he leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms. "Fine. Talk." Celestine took a deep breath. 3 years ago, I was working for the law firm, Morrison and Associates. Do you remember? Of course I remember. You were a paralegal. I was working on a case, a big one, corporate fraud, millions of dollars. The client was a man named Victor Cross. Rowan's expression didn't change, but Celestine saw his fingers tighten on his arms. "I started noticing things," she continued, "inconsistencies in the documents, money trails that didn't add up. I thought it was just bad bookkeeping at first, but the more I dug, the more I realized it was intentional. Someone was hiding money, laundering it through shell companies." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I didn't want to drag you into it. I thought I could handle it on my own. I copied the files. I planned to turn them over to the authorities." "But you didn't." "No, because the night before I was supposed to meet with the police, I found a letter on our bed, and a photo of Emma." Rowan went very still. "What did the letter say?" "It told me to leave. Immediately. Or everyone I loved would be killed." Jesus. Rowan stood abruptly. He paced to the window and back. "Why didn't you tell me? We could have gone to the police together. We could have protected Emma." "The police were part of it," Celestine said quietly. "Victor Cross had people everywhere. Cops, judges, politicians. I didn't know who to trust." "So you trusted no one, not even me." "I was trying to protect you." "You abandoned us." Rowan's voice rose. "You left without a word. You let Emma think you didn't love her. Do you have any idea what that did to her? What it did to me?" "I had no choice. There's always a choice." They stared at each other. The air between them crackled with 3 years of hurt and anger. Then Celestine whispered, "I loved you too much to let them kill you." Rowan's expression cracked. For just a moment she saw the man she married. The man who used to hold her at night and whisper promises into her hair. But then the mask came back. "It doesn't matter now," he said. "You're here. Margaret was attacked. If this is connected to your past, we need to figure out who's behind it. I called a friend, a detective. She's on her way." Rowan nodded. "Good, because if someone's threatening my family, I want them found." "Rowan, Don't. He held up a hand. Don't apologize again. Don't explain. Just help me keep Emma safe. That's all I care about. Celestine bit her lip. She nodded. 20 minutes later, Detective Iris Hale arrived. She was a tall woman with sharp features and graying hair pulled into a bun. She wore a trench coat over jeans and a sweater. Her eyes swept the waiting room, taking in everything. Celestine, she said, nodding. Then she turned to Rowan. You must be the ex-husband. Rowan. Iris Hale. I worked with Celestine 3 years ago. I was investigating Victor Cross before the case disappeared. Disappeared? Rowan frowned. All the evidence vanished. Witnesses recanted. Files were sealed. It was like the whole thing never happened. Iris pulled out a small notebook. Now tell me what happened today. They explained everything. The invitation, Celestine's arrival, Margaret's fall, the mysterious note. Iris listened without interrupting. When they finished, she flipped through her notes. Someone wanted you at that party, she said, looking at Celestine. Someone who knew your connection to Emma, and they used Margaret to send you a message. What message? Rowan asked. That they know where you are, that they can get to the people you love. Iris tapped her pen against the notebook. The question is, what do they want? Maybe they want the files, Celestine said. The ones I copied. Do you still have them? Yes, hidden, in a safe place. Where? Celestine hesitated. Then she said, I'll take you there. The storage unit sat on the outskirts of town, surrounded by chain-link fences and empty fields. Rain hammered the roof as Celestine unlocked the metal door. It rolled up with a screech. Inside, the unit was small and dark. Cardboard boxes were stacked against one wall. A filing cabinet stood in the corner. Everything was covered in a thin layer of dust. Rowan and Iris followed Celestine inside. She went straight to the filing cabinet and pulled out the second drawer. Her fingers brushed the false bottom. She pressed down, and the panel popped open. A leather folder lay inside. Celestine pulled it out and handed it to Iris. Everything's in here. Account numbers, wire transfers, emails, proof that Victor Cross was laundering money through his companies. Iris opened the folder. Her eyes scanned the documents. This is good. Really good. Why didn't you ever bring it to anyone? I told you. I didn't know who to trust. And I was terrified. After I got that letter, I ran. I've been running ever since. Well, you can't run anymore, Iris said. She closed the folder. If someone's bringing you back, it's because they want something. Either they want these files destroyed, or they want you silenced. Or both, Rowan said grimly. Celestine wrapped her arms around herself. The storage unit felt colder than it should. So what do we do? We set a trap, Iris said. We let whoever's after you think they're getting what they want. And when they show up, we catch them. That's dangerous, Rowan said. Celestine could get hurt. I can handle it, Celestine said. No. Rowan turned to her. His eyes were fierce. I already lost you once. I'm not losing you again. The words hung between them. Celestine's breath caught. Iris raised an eyebrow but said nothing. You don't get to decide, Celestine said softly. This is my fight. I'm the one they want. And Emma is my daughter. If something happens to you, it destroys her. Again. Then we make sure nothing happens. They stared at each other. The rain pounded harder. Finally, Iris said, We do this smart. Controlled. Celestine wears a wire. We have backup nearby. We pick the location. We control every variable. When? Rowan asked. Soon. Before they make another move. They left the storage unit and drove back toward town. Celestine sat in the passenger seat of Iris's car, watching the rain streak across the windows. Rowan followed in his own car, his headlights cutting through the dark. "He still loves you," Iris said suddenly. Celestine looked at her. "What?" "Rowan, he still loves you. I can see it. He's engaged to someone else. Doesn't mean he's over you." Celestine shook her head. "It doesn't matter. Too much has happened. Too much time has passed. Time doesn't erase love, it just buries it." Celestine didn't answer. She turned back to the window. When they reached Rowan's house, the lights were on. Claire's car sat in the driveway. Iris parked. Rowan pulled in behind her. They got out into the rain, hurrying toward the front door. Rowan unlocked it and stepped inside. "Claire? Emma?" No answer. Celestine's stomach dropped. They moved through the house quickly. The living room was empty. The kitchen was dark. Upstairs, Emma's bedroom door stood open. The room was empty. Rowan's face went white. "Emma? Emma!" He ran from room to room, calling her name. Celestine followed, her heart pounding. Iris checked the windows, the locks, looking for signs of forced entry. In the master bedroom, they found Claire. She sat on the edge of the bed, her face in her hands. She was crying. "Claire." Rowan crossed to her. He grabbed her shoulders. "Where's Emma? Where is she?" Claire looked up. Her makeup was smeared. Her eyes were red. "She's gone. She said she was going to a friend's house. I told her it was okay. I didn't know." "Which friend?" Rowan's voice was sharp. "Sophie. Sophie Martin." Rowan pulled out his phone and dialed. He pressed it to his ear, waited. Then his face went even paler. "Mrs. Martin? This is Rowan Thorne, Emma's father. Is Emma there?" A pause. "No? Are you sure?" Another pause. "Okay, thank you." He hung up. His hand shook. "She never went to Sophie's house," he said quietly. Celestine felt the world tilt. "Someone took her." "We don't know that," Iris began. Rowan's phone buzzed. He looked down at the screen, his face drained of all color. "What is it?" Celestine asked. Rowan turned the phone around. A text message glowed on the screen. It was from an unknown number. "We have Emma. You want her back? Bring the files. Alone. Tomorrow at midnight. We'll send the location. If you call the police, she dies." Below the text was a photo. Emma, bound to a chair in a dark room. Her face was streaked with tears. Her eyes were wide with fear. Celestine's knees buckled. Rowan caught her. "Oh God," Claire sobbed. "Oh God, what do we do?" "We get her back," Celestine said. Her voice was steel. "We do exactly what they want, and we get her back." "We can't give them the files," Iris said. "Those files are the only leverage we have." "I don't care about the files," Rowan snapped. "I care about my daughter. If we give them the files, they have no reason to keep Emma alive," Iris argued. "They'll kill both of you." "Then we make copies," Celestine said. "We give them fakes. We buy time." "That's risky." "I don't care. Emma is what matters." Iris looked between them. Then she sighed. "Okay. We do it your way, but I'm coming with you." The message said alone. "I'll stay back, out of sight, but I'm not letting you walk into a trap with no backup." Rowan nodded. "Fine. We do this together." Claire stood abruptly. "This is insane. You're all going to get killed. Just call the police." "The police can't help," Celestine said. "Whoever has Emma is connected. They have resources, power. If we go through official channels, Emma dies." Claire's face crumpled. "I can't do this. I can't be part of this." She grabbed her purse from the dresser and walked toward the door. "Claire, wait," Rowan started. "No." She turned, tears streaming down her face. "I thought I knew you. I thought we could have a normal life, but you're still in love with her. You've always been in love with her, and I can't compete with that." She left. The front door slammed. Rowan stood frozen. Then he sank onto the bed, his head in his hands. Celestine sat beside him. She didn't touch him, didn't speak, just sat. Finally, Rowan said, "She's right. About everything." Celestine's heart stuttered. "Rowan, I tried to move on, I really did, but every time I looked at Claire, I saw you. Every time she laughed, I compared it to your laugh. Every time she touched me, I wished it was you." "You hate me," Celestine whispered. "You said, I wanted to hate you. God, I wanted to. It would have been so much easier. But I can't. Even after everything, I can't." He looked at her. His eyes were raw, vulnerable. "I love you, Celestine. I never stopped." The words broke something inside her. Celestine reached for him, and he pulled her into his arms. They held each other like they were drowning. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I'm so sorry. I thought I was protecting you. I thought—" "I know. I know." He stroked her hair. "But we're going to fix this. We're going to get Emma back, and then we're going to end this. Together." She nodded against his chest. They stayed like that for a long time, holding each other, drawing strength from each other. Outside, the rain continued to fall, but inside, something shifted. The warehouse district was silent at midnight. Empty buildings loomed like ghosts. Broken windows stared down like hollow eyes. The rain had stopped, but the streets were slick and black. Celestine walked alone down the center of the road. She wore dark jeans and a jacket. The leather folder was tucked under her arm. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Behind her, hidden in the shadows, Rowan and Iris watched. They wore earpieces. Celestine wore a wire taped under her shirt. "I see movement ahead," Iris's voice crackled in Celestine's ear. "Two men, east side. Stay calm." Celestine kept walking, her breath misted in the cold air. A figure stepped out from behind a rusted truck. He was tall, broad-shouldered. He wore a black coat and gloves. A mask covered the lower half of his face. "Stop there," he said. His voice was distorted, mechanical. Celestine stopped. "Where's Emma?" "Do you have the files?" "Where is Emma?" The man gestured. Another figure emerged from the darkness. He dragged Emma with him. Her hands were bound, her mouth was taped. But her eyes found Celestine's and filled with tears. "Mama," Emma's muffled voice said. Celestine's control snapped. She started forward. "Don't move," the first man barked. He pulled out a gun. "Give me the files, then you get the girl." "Let her go first. You're not in a position to negotiate. And you're not getting these files until I know Emma's safe." They stared at each other. Tension crackled. Then a voice spoke from the darkness, a voice Celestine recognized. "Give him the files, Celestine. Don't make this harder than it has to be." A third figure stepped into the dim light. Celestine's blood turned to ice. "Victor Cross." The man smiled. He was older than she remembered. Grey hair, lines around his eyes, but the same cold expression, the same predator's gaze. "Hello, Celestine. It's been a long time." "You're supposed to be in prison." "I was, for about 6 months. Then certain people realized it was in their best interest to let me go. Charges dropped. Evidence disappeared. Funny how that works." "You sent the letter. 3 years ago." "I did. I thought you'd be smart enough to stay away. But you kept those files. You kept the evidence. That was a mistake." "You brought me back here," Celestine said slowly. "You sent the invitation. You pushed Margaret. You took Emma. All necessary steps. You see, I'm planning something big. Something that requires absolute secrecy. I can't have loose ends. And you, my dear, are a very loose end. So, you're going to kill me? Eventually. But first, I need those files. Every copy, every backup. And I need to make sure you didn't share them with anyone else. I didn't. I don't believe you. Victor nodded to the man holding Emma. The man tightened his grip. Emma whimpered. Don't hurt her, Celestine said quickly. Please, she's just a child. She has nothing to do with this. Then give me the files, and tell me who else knows. Celestine's mind raced. She could hear Iris in her earpiece whispering for her to stall, but Emma was right there, terrified, crying. It's just me, Celestine said. I never told anyone. The files are all here. She held out the folder. Victor walked forward. He took it from her hands and opened it. His eyes scanned the documents. Then he smiled. Very good. Now, who helped you tonight? You didn't come here alone. I did. Liar. He pulled out a phone and pressed a button. Immediately, headlights blazed from 3 directions. Cars roared into the warehouse district surrounding them. Celestine spun. Men poured out of the vehicles, 6, 8, 10, all armed. Did you really think I wouldn't know? Victor said. I've been watching you for weeks. I know about the detective. I know about your ex-husband. I know everything. From the shadows, Iris emerged with her gun drawn. Police! Drop your weapons! The men didn't move. They pointed their guns at her. Rowan appeared behind Iris, his face pale but determined. Victor laughed. How touching. The whole family together. This will be easier than I thought. Let Emma go, Rowan said. His voice shook. You have what you want. Let her go. I'm afraid I can't do that. You see, I need to send a message. I need everyone to know what happens when you cross me. He raised his hand. The man holding Emma lifted his gun. No! Celestine screamed. She lunged forward. Everything happened at once. A gunshot cracked through the night. Celestine felt something slam into her shoulder. Pain exploded through her body. She fell, hitting the pavement hard. Emma screamed behind her gag. Rowan shouted her name. Iris fired back. One of Victor's men dropped. Chaos erupted. Gunfire echoed between the buildings. Men shouted. Tires squealed. Celestine tried to stand, but her left arm wouldn't move. Blood soaked her jacket. The world tilted and spun. She saw Rowan fighting with one of the men. She saw Iris taking cover behind a car, returning fire. She saw Emma struggling against her captor. And she saw Victor walking calmly toward her, his gun raised. You should have stayed hidden, he said. He aimed at her head. Celestine closed her eyes. Another gunshot. But she didn't feel it. She opened her eyes. Victor staggered backward. Blood bloomed across his chest. He looked down, surprised. Then he fell. Behind him stood a woman, middle-aged, dark hair, familiar. Margaret. Rowan's sister held a smoking gun. Her face was pale but steady. I followed you, she said. I knew something was wrong. I heard you talking at the hospital. More police sirens wailed in the distance. Real police. The men scattered, some running, some surrendering. Rowan reached Celestine. He dropped to his knees beside her. Don't move. You're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. Emma, Celestine gasped. Get Emma. Iris was already there. She cut Emma's bonds and pulled off the tape. Emma collapsed into her arms, sobbing. Rowan pressed his hands to Celestine's shoulder, trying to stop the bleeding. Stay with me. Stay with me, Celestine. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm sorry I left. I'm sorry. Don't. Don't apologize. Just hold on. The sirens grew louder. Celestine's vision blurred. The last thing she saw before darkness took her was Rowan's face, his tears falling onto her cheeks. White ceiling, beeping monitors, the smell of antiseptic. Celestine opened her eyes slowly. Her shoulder throbbed. Her whole body ached. Mama? She turned her head. Emma sat in a chair beside the hospital bed. Her face was pale but hopeful. "Emma," Celestine whispered. Her throat was dry. Emma jumped up. She leaned over the bed, tears streaming down her face. "You're awake! You're awake! I was so scared." "I'm okay." Celestine reached up with her good hand and touched Emma's cheek. "Are you okay? Did they hurt you?" "No, I'm fine. You saved me. Your dad saved you, and Iris, and Aunt Margaret. But you tried first. You got shot protecting me." Celestine managed a weak smile. "Of course I did. You're my baby." The door opened. Rowan walked in carrying 2 cups of coffee. He stopped when he saw Celestine awake. The cups nearly slipped from his hands. "You're up," he breathed. "Just barely." He set the coffee down and crossed to the bed. He took Celestine's hand gently. "The doctors said you were lucky. The bullet missed the major arteries. You'll need physical therapy, but you'll make a full recovery." "What about Victor Cross?" "Alive. Barely. He's in custody. So are most of his men. The police found evidence linking him to dozens of crimes. Money laundering, bribery, conspiracy. He's going away for the rest of his life." "And the files?" "Safe. Iris has them. They're being used as evidence." Celestine closed her eyes. Relief washed over her. "It's really over." "It's over." Emma climbed onto the bed carefully, curling up beside Celestine. "I'm never letting you go again." Celestine kissed the top of her head. "Good, because I'm never leaving again." Rowan sat on the edge of the bed. He looked at them both. His family, broken and scarred, but together. "What happens now?" Celestine asked softly. "Now we heal," Rowan said. "All of us." "What about Claire?" "She left. She's not coming back. And honestly, I don't blame her." He squeezed Celestine's hand. She deserved someone who could love her completely. That was never going to be me. "Rowan, I meant what I said before. I love you. I never stopped. And if you'll let me, I want to try again. Not right away. We need time. We need to rebuild trust. But eventually, I want us to be a family again." Celestine's eyes filled with tears. "I want that too, more than anything." Emma sniffled. "Does this mean you're moving back home?" Celestine looked at Rowan. He smiled. "If she wants to," he said. "I want to," Celestine whispered. Emma hugged her tighter. Finally. They stayed like that for a long time. 3 people who had been torn apart, now knitting themselves back together. Outside the hospital window, the sun rose. Golden light spilled across the room. A new beginning. 3 months later, Celestine stood in the kitchen of the house she once called home. She poured orange juice into 3 glasses. Behind her, eggs sizzled in a pan. The smell of toast filled the air. It felt surreal. Being here, cooking breakfast, living this normal, quiet life. But it also felt right. Emma bounded down the stairs, her backpack slung over one shoulder. "Morning, Mama." "Morning, sweetheart. Are you ready for school?" "Almost. I just need to find my math homework." "Check the living room. I think you left it on the coffee table." Emma ran off. Celestine smiled. She had missed this. The chaos, the routine, the simple, beautiful mess of family life. Rowan appeared in the doorway. He wore jeans and a t-shirt. His hair was still damp from the shower. He smiled when he saw her. "You cooked." "I cooked." "I'm impressed." "Don't be. It's just eggs and toast." Still impressive. He crossed to her and kissed her forehead. "How's your shoulder?" "Better. Physical therapy is helping." "Good." They had been taking things slow. Rowan slept in the guest room. They went on dates. They talked. Really talked. About the past. About the hurt. About what they wanted for the future. It wasn't always easy. There were moments when old wounds reopened. when trust wavered. But they kept trying, and slowly, piece by piece, they were building something new. Emma returned with her homework. "Found it!" They ate breakfast together. Emma chatted about a science project. Rowan told a funny story about a client at work. Celestine just listened, soaking in the warmth of it all. After Emma left for school, Rowan and Celestine cleaned up the kitchen together. "I have a meeting this afternoon," Rowan said as he dried a plate, "but I should be home by 6. I'll make dinner." "You don't have to." "I want to," he smiled. "Okay." They finished the dishes. Then Rowan pulled her into his arms. She rested her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. "Are you happy?" he asked softly. "Yes. Are you?" "More than I've been in years." She looked up at him. "I'm sorry it took so long. I'm sorry I hurt you." "I know. And I forgive you." He cupped her face in his hands. "But I need you to forgive yourself too. You did what you thought was right. You protected us. That's all that matters now." Celestine's eyes stung. "I'm trying. That's all I ask." He kissed her then, soft and slow, a kiss full of promise. When they pulled apart, Celestine said, "I love you." "I love you too." The garden was transformed. White roses climbed every trellis. Fairy lights hung between the trees, twinkling like stars. Rows of chairs faced a wooden arch draped in silk and flowers. The air smelled sweet. The sun shone warm. Celestine stood in the small tent at the edge of the garden, her hands shaking. She wore a simple white dress, lace sleeves and a flowing skirt. Her hair was swept up. Her makeup was soft. Emma stood beside her wearing a pale pink dress. She grinned. "You look beautiful, Mama." "I'm nervous." "Don't be. Papa's nervous too. I saw him pacing earlier." Celestine laughed. "Really?" "Really. Aunt Margaret had to talk him down." The music started. A string quartet playing something soft and romantic. Emma hugged her. "It's time." They walked together to the entrance of the garden. Guests turned to look. Friends, family, people who loved them. And at the end of the aisle, standing beneath the arch, was Rowan. He wore a black suit. His hair was combed back. But his eyes were locked on Celestine, and they were full of love. Celestine's breath caught. Emma squeezed her hand. "Go get him." Celestine walked down the aisle. Each step felt like coming home. When she reached Rowan, he took her hands. His smile was so bright it could have lit the world. The officiant began to speak. Words about love and commitment, about second chances, about forgiveness. But Celestine barely heard. She was lost in Rowan's eyes. When it was time for vows, Rowan went first. "Celestine," he said, his voice thick with emotion. 3 years ago, I thought I lost you forever. I thought our story was over. But love doesn't end just because people make mistakes. Love endures. It waits. It fights. And when you came back, when you risked everything to save our daughter, I knew. I knew I would love you for the rest of my life. I promised to stand by you, to support you, to choose you every single day. You are my heart, my home, my everything." Tears streamed down Celestine's face. She squeezed his hands. "Rowan," she began, "I left because I thought it would keep you safe. But I was wrong. Running didn't protect you. It only broke us. I promise never to run again. I promise to trust you, to fight for us, to choose love over fear. You gave me a second chance I didn't deserve, and I will spend the rest of my life proving that I am worthy of it. I love you. I have always loved you, and I will love you until my last breath." The officiant smiled. "By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss." Rowan pulled Celestine into his arms and kissed her. The guests erupted into applause. Emma cheered the loudest. When they pulled apart, Celestine laughed through her tears. "We did it," she whispered. "We did it," Rowan agreed. They walked back down the aisle together, hand in hand, husband and wife. The reception was held in the same garden. Tables were set with white linens and candles. Music played. People danced. Celestine and Rowan moved through the crowd, greeting guests. Margaret hugged them both, tears in her eyes. Iris raised a glass of champagne in their honor. And Emma was everywhere, dancing with her friends, eating cake, laughing until she could barely breathe. Later, as the sun began to set, Rowan pulled Celestine onto the dance floor. A slow song played. They swayed together, holding each other close. "Thank you," Celestine whispered. "For what?" "For not giving up on me. For loving me even when I didn't deserve it." "You always deserved it." Rowan kissed her temple. "You just needed to believe it." She rested her head on his shoulder. Around them, the garden glowed with light. Their friends and family celebrated. Emma twirled past them, her pink dress spinning. "This is perfect," Celestine murmured. "It is. I'm so happy." "Me too." They danced until the stars came out, until the fairy lights were the only illumination, until the music slowed and the guests began to leave. And when they finally went home, Emma asleep in the back seat of the car, Celestine looked at Rowan and thought, "This is what I was meant to protect. This love, this family, this life, and I will never let it go again." Celestine sat on the porch swing, a mug of tea in her hands. The afternoon sun warmed her face. In the yard, Emma played with a golden retriever puppy. She threw a ball and the puppy scrambled after it, tripping over its own feet. Emma laughed. The sound was pure joy. Rowan stepped outside and sat beside Celestine. He handed her a letter. "This came for you." Celestine set down her tea and opened it. Her eyes scanned the page. Then she smiled. "It's from the university. They accepted my application. I start next semester." "That's amazing." Rowan kissed her cheek. "I'm so proud of you." "I'm nervous. I haven't been in school in years." "You'll be incredible. You always are." Celestine leaned against him. "Thank you. For encouraging me. For believing I could do this." "You can do anything, Celestine. You've proven that over and over." They sat in comfortable silence, watching Emma play. The puppy finally caught the ball and pranced back, tail wagging. "Mama, Papa, look! He got it!" Emma shouted. "We see," Rowan called back. "Good boy!" Celestine sipped her tea. "Do you ever think about that night? At the warehouse?" "Sometimes." "Do you regret it? Coming after me? You could have been killed." "No." Rowan took her hand. "I don't regret it, because it brought you back. It brought us back, and I would do it all over again in a heartbeat." Celestine's eyes shimmered. "I love you. I love you too." Emma ran up the porch steps, the puppy at her heels. "Can we go get ice cream, please?" Rowan laughed. "Sure, let's go." They piled into the car, the puppy squirming in Emma's lap. They drove to the little ice cream shop downtown. They ordered cones and sat outside, licking melting chocolate and vanilla. Emma told stories about her day. Rowan teased her about a boy she mentioned. Celestine just smiled, watching the two people she loved most in the world. Life wasn't perfect. There were still hard days, moments when the past crept back in, times when fear whispered in Celestine's ear. But they faced it together, as a family, as a team, and that made all the difference. As they walked back to the car, Emma slipped her hand into Celestine's. "Mama?" "Yes, sweetheart." "I'm glad you came back." Celestine stopped. She knelt down so she was eye level with her daughter. "Me too, baby. Me too." Emma hugged her, tight and fierce. Rowan joined them, wrapping his arms around both of them. They stood there on the sidewalk, a family reunited, a family healed. The sun set behind them, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. And for the first time in years, Celestine felt at peace. She was home.